the hit was good, and then when it came on boost, it shook. So you see RPMs 4,700, and then 52 or 58.95, and it was on the rev limiter for half a second, and then it caught and went. But when it was shaking, I think I was counter steering right, and then it caught and it shot me right, and then I had to fight it back left, get it back in the groove. That's why 8th mile. That's why I went like that. No, it's funny because you first start running the truck and you don't remember any of that stuff. Right. But then you run it long enough, and now you know what gear you're in, did the converter lock, in what gear it shook the tires.
I thought when we went to little first time you ran, that was going to be the end of the run.
Right. That's what it was really close to avoiding, but I'm glad it didn't.
First time you ran, it was like.
Yeah, honestly, like Landon ran the quad cab at Rudy's last year and first pass in it because his truck he's been running 8 flats in his truck, running ET class. And then he gets in that, and he said the first pass he remembers feeling it hit the second, and he hit the lockup switch, and then the pass was over. He didn't know if it shifted or did anything.
But he's running 8 flats in the 8th?
No, in Landon's street truck. The quad cab runs 670 in the 8th.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I've been 630 in the 8th turned up, but I generally detune it for the 670 class.
So which truck is running 8 flats?
Landon's blue quad cab.
I did not know that was that fast. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the 8th, not the quarter.
Yeah. See, that's what I was. Okay.
Right,
yeah. All right.
I was just making sure.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So like a 770 is a 12 flat in the quarter. So 80 is like a 12.6 or something like that.
Generally 1.5, right? I believe, or 1.5 times.
Yeah. Haven't you done that before? So it's not. As you drive it more, you get muscle memory. You drive on muscle memory, and like I come down to the track, and the truck's already in 2-wheel drive, and I'm like, when did I do that? I have no idea. It's funny. I think I got myself in the habit of popping it out of 4-wheel drive as soon as I let off. Back when I was racing my VP truck back in 05 when I started. And so now that carried over to the quad cab and then to this. I never even ever catch myself putting it in 2-wheel drive, but I do it automatically.
Same thing. First thing I do is reach over and switch off the nitrous.
Right.
Before I even get off it, actually. But yeah, it's muscle memory. Did you run one stage in that pass?
Yeah, we had just a single 60 jet.
Just a 60, that's it?
Yeah. Our first pass this morning was fuel only.
Okay.
I have a purge button that I use to have a 36 jet in just to bring it up on the stock stall converter.
Yeah.
And then this morning we thought we had nitrous on, and then I figured out we had put a 23 jet on the main stage that we run because last weekend when we broke drive shaft, we were in 2-wheel drive to eliminations.
Right.
And so we had forgot to put the 60 jet back in it. So the first pass this morning was like a 23 jet, which does nothing.
No, it's not. Yeah, so it's basically like a 60 horse. I mean, it's
barely even that.
I'm amazed that you're not using
that 23 jet, I can turn it on at idle and the motor just changes tone a little bit.
Right.
So that tells me it's not doing shit.
So 788.
Yep.
What was your best before?
799. We went 799 at 174 before, and then went 788 at 181 today.
And you're set up for 799, so you're legal for 799.
Right.
Do they kick you out?
No, I mean most tracks, yes, they're pretty picky. Here they didn't say anything. I mean, most of the time, I'm sure most of the time that happens if you go below cert. Or if I go below, if I run faster than my cert at any competition, so like Outlaw Diesel Super Series or NHRDA, if we go faster than our certification during eliminations, that run does not count. So like if in the 8th mile, we're certified for 5.0, and we've been 5.002.
Gotcha.
So our 788 pass today was a 5.18 or 5.19 in the 8th. And we've been 5 flat, so there's another. Just the 8th mile time in itself is in the 10th and a half.
What was your speed limit?
145.
145?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What are you 60 footing?
Today was a 132.
What's your
on
best
that
bet?
pass? 124.
Oh yeah, you got a little more in it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good bit. Last fall at Rudy's, we went 124, 126, 126, 126, 4 passes in a row.
Consistent, over
Yeah.
and over and over.
It's a lot on the track, and we changed the atmosphere turbos, so it's a little bit tricky for us because they're coming on and hitting so violently that we're having to launch softer, so that they're not coming into the hit. Basically, we're trying to pull some power back out of it early on.
Well, you've got to basically run
miles an hour for Tidal Elch.
10 flat.
10 flat. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're running all off computer, right? So you're putting your foot on the floor and only coming off of. You're
Right.
only pedaling it if you have to.
If you have to drive it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm launching on foot brake.
Okay.
We have a trans brake setup that we've been wanting to try, but we're waiting to kind of get through the competition stuff so we can get some time testing. Because I think there's more in the 60 foot if we can. What we're seeing, we've got brake pressure sensors, and we're seeing the throttle position go up, and then brake pressure goes down. But we're at 2,000 psi, and we're 0.7 of a second into the run before brake pressure hits below 20 psi.
So your left foot is not as quick as your right foot.
Well, the foot is coming off, but it takes too much time for the brake system to bleed 2,000 pounds of pressure off of it.
Okay.
So
What do you
go
think about
to
that?
like our King of the Street event finals last weekend, or the last event of 2017. Then we were racing Dustin Jackson, and he's a two-wheel drive leaving on a trans brake.
Yeah.
And you watch the slow-mo video, and you watch the smoke coming out of our stack, and it's like 4 feet. The smoke's 4 feet above our cab before his smoke starts coming out. But his reaction time on his time slips faster.
And the truck source diesel.
There you go.
And that's trans brake versus foot brake.
Yeah.
It just takes longer for the truck to react.
Well,
So
if you trans brake it, then you can work into the computer
right.
the timing and actually take out your reaction time.
The hard part about trans brake is we're on our 48 REs that we build, and the trans brake is working good, but I'm concerned about the shock load that it's going to put on the intermediate shaft.
Okay.
I think it can work if the chassis is set up right, but we'll see. I guess in a couple weeks we'll probably have one tested.
Are you going to tear apart the tranny tonight, or
Probably not.
not for the dyno? It's not worth it.
No, we're gonna put pull the bedsides off and put our plates on the side, and make it solid suspension, so we can hang 1,500 pounds on the back for the sled pull.
For the sled pull.
We're gonna run that set up for the dyno, just for added traction.
Okay. Well, I remember last year your brakes were glowing nice red.
Well, that was with Triple HX82s and a Sigma pump, and we were trying to load up really big chargers.
That was. I still get goosebumps thinking about that thing.
That was a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were certifiably dumb.
No.
We looked at each other last week. We were talking about it like, I think we were badasses last year, but we have no interest in ever doing that kind of craziness again, because we had about 20 guys who didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days.
I'll tell you, I wipe my phone before events so I can record stuff like this. There's one video, well, a few videos. That's one of them. Is the in-cab footage. And just watching that camera, stabilized camera, when you would shift, it would just shift all over the place.
It's a feeling like you're trying to control it, and it's like.
Yeah.
I just remember the dyno guys. They were running they were calibrating the RPM. And he was like sitting up here, and I'm like coming up through the governor, and it's chopping pretty hard, and I'm just coming out where it smooths out at 3,000 RPM, and he's like, "You ready?" And I was like, "I'm still in first gear." He's like, "Holy shit!" But you pretty much had to shift that setup at 5,500 RPM or on the dyno, because it would just fall off, or it would overfuel it if you let the RPM drop.
We had a full fire suit on for that. Helmet, everything.
We had some carnage on the dyno that I knew how scary it could be if things went bad. So.
Right. Oh yeah, because you had a compressor wheel fly through,
it was bad.
through the walls.
Yeah, it was bad.
So what are you changing for tomorrow other than
Wheels and tires, and adding weight to the back. But other than that, it should be. We're not going to do anything crazy. Turn it up. It makes horsepower. I know that.
Same nitrous?
I've got 2 more big kits to put on it.
So you're putting more on.
I've got a Nitrous Express Maximizer 5 we've hooked up, so we've got 3 NX Lightning solenoids, plus a purge shot. So I'll use a purge just to wake it up, and then I'll progressively ramp in 3 kits.
What jets?
Big ones.
Big one. All right.
No, I've learned my lesson on going. I tried 4 150 jets one time, and we made molten pistons quickly. Don't do that. But we didn't have it progressive. We just had it on the button. Yeah, it's bad. Don't do that. So we're going to probably ramp in over 300 RPM each kit and just bring it up to try to hit where we want to make peak power at.
What RPM are you making peak power at?
We've never sucked it down on the dyno. Every time we go lower, it makes more power, but then you run into so much torque, we don't dare. It probably would make peak power at 3,600.
See, that seems very low to me.
Right, it is low, but we're shifting it at 5,300. We're never pulling it down below 4,200 RPM on the drag strip.
Yeah. Well, if you're making that much power down low, though, then you're making a ton of torque as well.
Right, yep. Which is hard on everything.
Yeah.
Cylinder pressure goes through the roof.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the hard part of knowing. Like tomorrow, you want to put a big number on the dyno, but you don't necessarily want to blow it up.
Right.
So it's hard to find that balance because really to make a big number on the dyno, you have to make a big torque number too, because torque number and horsepower combined all counts together. It's kind of hard to know how much do you go. Yep. Yeah. But we're gonna put a solid pass. We're gonna put a solid pass on it. And if it's close, we'll rock it.
Did you bring it on the block?
No. Drew has what we call blow up blue, which is the engine that we ran the signal pump motor on last year.
Okay.
That he put a common rail front cover and stuff on it.
Okay.
So if we worst comes to shove, we could put that motor in it, but I don't know. So, I don't think we're that ambitious. And pretty much, we talked about this. We all decided that we're not putting an engine in it this year. If we blow it up, we're gonna put it in the trailer. But then we're like, so what if we run 7s in the quarter and we make 2,500 horsepower but blow it up, and we see that all we have to do is make a solid sled pull, and we're all like, yeah, we'll probably put it back. So
I heard you had that game plan.
Yeah, I mean our goal was put a 7-second pass on the board, and our goal for tomorrow is 2,400 horsepower on the dyno. And if we can do that in a solid sled pull without braking, I think we can play ball.
So, someone told me I've been 7 seconds. What have you been?
Yeah. No, we will keep the industrial guys are keeping us honest, but I like giving Bob Milliken crap, so
there you go.
It's all in good fun. But it is fun to see 3 years later now there's trucks that are knocking on our windows and saying, hey, we're here, and it makes it fun because you got guys getting on that level and actually going fast. It makes it fun for the crowd and all the people watching.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
like
for
goosebumps.
sure.
And especially after watching you get shook up a couple of the times. I knew you were putting power down. You were putting more power down.
Right. Well, we know this is kind of the tune-up that we ran when we ran those 5.0 passes, but we were on a really good track. And the track out here was actually pretty good. We were thinking it was taking it, but I really think it would go faster if we pull some power out of it.
Well, last year it was cold.
Yeah.
So slick.
Yeah. And last year we ran 8.6s, but we tried a new injector that was actually considerably bigger than these, but it was a different spray nozzle, so it had more holes in the spray pattern, and that made less power than what these smaller injectors make. So we put our 2016 injectors back in the truck after UCC. 2 weeks later, go to Oklahoma and run 799.
Can you say what type of injectors? What
Extra
size?
G. They're 500% is what we put back in. Last year we had 700%.
How many holes?
Different ones.
Okay. All right.
Though we've tried a lot of different ones.
That for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really classified, but a lot of that stuff is stuff that Exergy puts together, and on the bench, it was phenomenal. It's like 35% or 35 to 40% increase in flow over what these late 5.9 500% overs were, and we put them in the truck, and the real world application just didn't work like they did on the flow bench. The fuel delivery was all great on the bench, but in the truck the spray pattern did not work.
Just didn't like it.
Right. So for that reason, like, I like working with Exergy because they'll, like, we had 5 different sets of injectors to try when we blew ours up on the dyno, and we never even got to try different sets of injectors. But there's still a lot to learn on that stuff.
That's when you epically grenaded it.
Yeah, when we had our block had separation anxiety.
Well, okay, so on that, actually, you know, how many? What was the history of that block? It had been around for a while.
Yeah, that was the block we raced it on it all summer. So basically, we come away from UCC, and then we go into ODSS and NHRDA racing. So a lot of those blocks, you get 80 passes on it, and you don't really know how much fatigue is on it. Yeah. And we also don't know the history of those blocks before we ever start with them.
When it was filled, right?
No, it's not a filled block.
Really?
There's water in it. So this is deck plate motor, has radiator, all that
deck
stuff.
plate, okay. All right.
So we have, this year, we bought a brand new block from Cummins, so we know what we're starting with.
Yeah.
And we can kind of wipe the slate clean and keep track of how many passes on it, what kind of shock loads on it. We know that it wasn't in a fire, wasn't in a truck that had an accident, that the engine mounts got hit. I mean, you don't know what happens in these things.
So the live ended. Anyone sponsors? Let's see.
I've got.
What DJ do for me?
Yeah, well, Drew at D&J does the long block. They've always helped us out real good. Dustin Hemberry from Industrial has been begging to put burger in it.
It's been a huge part of this team.
Yeah.
It's all this guy right here.
Right.
Great success.
Yeah,
I've been sending my long blocks out for quite a while now. That Drew makes a really nice looking valve cover. It goes on this truck.
Let me see. Yeah, you're lying.
No, my mouth was closed.
Your fingers were crossed behind your back.
What's for dinner, Lavon?
I don't know. What is for dinner? I think
Are you
Dylan's
guys
gonna
ready
make
to go for
burgers.
tomorrow? 'Cause we are.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Are you ready?
We're going go-kart racing too.
Well, I think Dylan's gonna make burgers.
What's with the